What's going on, everyone? It is E-Wake here, and I just recently rewatched the movie Project Almanac. Well, didn't rewatch, kind of skimmed through it, watched a bit of it, because I've seen this movie a couple of times. With my last video on together for the film review, which thank you all for the views on that video, for everyone watching and supporting it. I appreciate it a lot. I'm going to be doing these more types of videos, and right now, this is one of them. On the movie Project Almanac. Now, if you guys have never seen this movie, spoilers, tons of spoilers. So, if you guys haven't seen it, like, what are you doing? This movie's insane, and after watching this review, I hope you do watch it. But yeah, there are spoilers gonna be going throughout this. So yeah, without further ado, everyone, let's go ahead and get into the video. Thank you all. Like, subscribe. All right, let's go.
Okay. Hi, my name is David Raskin, and I'm applying for the MIT Physics Fellowship.
At the start of this movie, we see our main character David Raskin and his friends creating a video for MIT. Because David is basically a genius, his other friends are there too, Quinn and Adam, and his sister Christina, who is holding the camera. This is one of those handheld movies, you know, where they hold the camera. But in the context of this film, I think this type of shooting works fine. Handheld shooting can work if it is set up properly, which I believe this was. For his project, David created a drone that could be controlled with just hand movements with these special gloves. Pretty badass, honestly. The next few scenes, David is waiting on the mail to run, and once it does, he rushes inside to read the letter he got from MIT. Towards his friends and mom. Our boy got accepted. But there was one problem. His financial aid was not able to cover his entire tuition, which you would think if you're going to MIT, they give you a full ride. Yeah, no, he didn't have a full ride. Dude is real smart. That's unfortunate, but which is basis for the whole movie's plot as well, by the way. We will soon find out. We'll soon see. A few scenes later, we see David up in the attic with Christina walking in holding the camera. She asks David what he's doing up there.
How are you solving this in the creepy attic?
It's dumb. You know, there's this one last scholarship where I have to submit a proposal for an experiment, and I thought maybe if I got it, Mom wouldn't have to sell the house.
Huh. Dad must have a million ideas lying around up here.
I don't know, Chris. I mean, I thought there'd be something up here. I can't find anything I can use.
He says he's trying to find something from their dad to use as another project. It is never stated, but their dad is, I believe, some genius level scientist. At least it makes sense to me. As they're looking around, Chris finds an old camera, and I'm calling her this as this is what David calls her, and it makes it easier, so yeah. Chris and David check out the camera footage. And I just noticed something. The camera's battery isn't dead. Like, I no idea if because it's a special camera. Like, who knows? But in doing so, they come across old birthday footage of David as a kid. David notices something pretty weird in the footage. We see a glimpse of current David walking by a mirror. He brings a footage to show the rest of his friends. But at first, they was not convinced. I'm not sure how. Like, I mean, just look at that. I would have been convinced seeing that. The next scene, we see our boy David walking up to his crush, Jessie Pierce, because his backpack got switched with hers, as they look the same. But, you know, not hating on the game. Jessie is important to the story for later, but currently not as much. Still a dime to look at. Always had a crush on Sophia Black. I mean, look at her. Anyway, the next scene, David and his friends are at his house trying to figure out more about what they saw in the footage. Quinn sets the camera up near the mirror. As they're messing with David's reflection, he checks around the mirror and spots a light switch. After flipping it, David has no clue what the switch turned on. I guess. I love this movie. I've seen it a few times, but now when I'm critical, I can see some of the flaws, and of course I'll call it out, so yeah. Not sure how he wouldn't have known about the light switch, considering he grew up there. But whatever, moving on. They go into the basement to look around. Chris said that he's never allowed inside, which maybe you can argue that's how he didn't know about the switch. And still kind of crazy to believe he never would have seen it at all. They go inside the workshop and Quinn flips off the light switch to mess around with it. Once the light turns on, Davidson notices a weird sound. David asks Quinn to keep flicking the switch, and they follow where the sound is coming from. They open up the secret compartment and find a weird machine with blueprints and schematics. Upon looking through the schematics, the boys put it together that David's dad was building, or has built, a time machine.
Project Almanac. ID number 453 Delta 71. Temporal relocation prototype?
Temporary relocation. That's impossible.
Anytime you guys
It does
want to
not
speak
say
English
that.
so that I can
Temporal
follow.
relocation. What does that mean?
It means time travel.
So yeah, like an actual super genius. His dad's insane, goated. For the next good portion of the movie, the crew's working on building the time machine. Not much to really add on here. After trying to power up the machine again, it failed once more, and the crew figured out that hydrogen is needed to power the rest of the machine. The only place they can get said hydrogen is inside the high school.
You serious?
Not really sure if that's can somebody confirm that? I don't think high school's carrying hydrogen. Look, I don't mind it. I don't know if that's a thing. But yeah, they hit the lick with major success.
Got it. Let's get out of here. Whoa. Come on. Freaking idiots. Shut up. Come on. Got the camera?
Yeah, got it.
Come on. First.
It fails yet again with some of the batteries frying out. Jesse Pierce actually gets more involved within the story now, as they needed batteries. A party was going on next door, and Jesse happened to be there. They managed to get booster cables attached to her car battery to use to power the time machine, which, not gonna lie, that's kind of crazy. David even says it could blow up her car, so yeah. I mean, I don't know about that one. As the time machine is powering on now, Jesse comes down the stairs asking what's going on. I really don't know how she even knew what was going on. She didn't even know her car was being used. Maybe she heard the commotion. Who knows? But David tells her there's no time to explain and tells her to get down. At this point, Jesse knows about the plan, so she joins the crew to help build the machine. And good for our boy David. And clap for him. A few scenes later, the crew managed to get the machine working in a portable size to even carry it inside David's backpack. Huge big brain knowledge. Add to that boy's feeds like a portable time. Bro. The crew find a spot to activate the machine for the first time. They get to a location and David has to go set up his GoPro in the corner to record. They power on the machine and everything around them flies around, even moving a car into different spots. Some crazy power and energy. The camera starts contorting and glitching. Also, seizure warning here. Like, actually, we see David in the next scene laying on the ground. Everybody got thrown everywhere, I guess. But they all realized they had just went back in time. 24 hours. It worked. Quinn has the funny idea to sneak into his house when everyone, as his past self, is asleep. He draws onto the back of his past self's neck, and it draws it back also onto the back of his. As he's only one day ahead in the future, his past self wakes up, and upon seeing himself, he starts spazzing out and glitching. David grabs Quinn, and they all run out of the house, freaking out. Quinn mentions what happens as a crazy feedback loop. Keep in mind, this is also important for later. So yeah, do not forget that. As they are running off, they are chased by a dog, and David hits the machine and brings them back to the present. They're back inside the basement now, and after a successful first run, the crew decide to push it even harder and go back in time. For Quinn to not fail a test in one of his classes, which is, I mean, okay, sure, go back in time for that, I guess, you know. They ended up having to go back in time a couple of times because his teacher kept adding more to the question Quinn didn't know. It's honestly hilarious.
Goldberg, let's get this over with.
That's exactly. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. Fluorine,
Yeah, fluorine. Great, keep going.
neon, sodium, magnesium, aluminum, silicon.
What's the classification of silicon?
Silicon? Are you kidding?
Goldberg, this is about
Comprehension, not memorization, I know.
Kidding, we have to do this again?
This is hell. This is what hell is.
The next few scenes, the crew decide to go back in time to win the Mega Ball lottery ticket. Goated. Like, honestly, that's the first thing I would have done, not go back in time for a school test, but look, sure. They, of course, win the lottery, and we see a montage shopping spree of everyone spending the money. We see David handing his mom a check to save their house. Honestly, goated. David's a great character. Love this guy. He makes a few mistakes later, but he always tries to fix them, it seems, so, you know, can't really hate on him too much for any of that. Quinn buys a drop top Maserati, like actually, the dealer laughed at Quinn till he dropped a fat stack of cash out of the duffel bag. Boom. Honestly, baller. Like, actually, all the characters are very likable for the most part. To push the machine even farther, David decides to go back 3 months to an Imagine Dragons concert, dude. Like, I guess they had missed a concert, and like, dude, hell yeah. We see a montage of everyone having fun, and even Chris and Adam are getting closer. Hell yeah. Attaboy. Attaboy. This next bit is very, very crucial, okay? David and Jesse are hanging out by this wall that people write their dreams and goals on with chalk. My town actually has a small one of these in like our city. So I actually, I don't even know what they're called, but I know I've seen them. David and Jesse are reading off some of the goals, and they come across the one Jesse wrote, which said, "Before the world ends, they need to fall in love." And what did you know? David didn't get the memo, man. He fumbled. Like, actually, it's sad. Like, honestly, we've all done it, but it's... rest in peace, the boy here. But because of this, things aren't the same. They return back to the present, and Jesse isn't really speaking with him. They didn't hang out at school. But finally, we see everyone hanging out in the basement. David tries to talk to her, but it seems to no avail. That's a shame, man. David is watching the footage back later on by himself, and gets the idea to go back in time by himself, breaking the very rule they decided to make: never time travel alone. But he does anyway, oh well. It goes back to when he botched a play at the chalk wall. He secures the bag, but upon returning, everything seemed to be a bit different. It caused a ripple in time, I guess. They caused a plane to crash and disaster to happen. David deduced it down to their high school quarterback getting hit by a car the night they worked on the machine. If he saves him, it will change everything. But doing this in return, David makes it all worse, of course, because, I don't know why. He realized it's cause and effect, and he knows this, so why is he trying to change? It's the only gripes I had with the film here. It's like I told you earlier that he kind of makes a few dumb mistakes, and it's like, upon doing this voiceover here, it's like, yeah, this guy's supposed to be a genius, but anyway, that's my only gripe there, I guess. This next mistake is huge, and the tipping point. As he goes back one final time, Jesse runs down the stairs to confront David. David tells her to stand back, but she doesn't, and gets brought back with him. She tries to get answers from him as to what is going on, but in doing so, past Jesse walks down the alleyway. This is once again the same night as it all started, but this sparks yet again another feedback loop, and kapoof, gone. Jesse is seemingly gone from existence. David returns to the present and is inside his house and talking with Quinn. David tells Quinn that he needs more hydrogen so he can go back and make sure this never happens again. Like, yeah, you messed up, dude. Somehow the cops know what happened and are after David. Yeah, I don't really know here. I can't really explain to you why. Because if Jesse got erased from existence, shouldn't nobody know about Jesse? Like, she wouldn't be in anyone's mind. But anyway, David escapes to the school. He breaks back in and is able to steal more hydrogen, literally in the brink of time. They was actively coming in with guns. They was gonna blast his ass. Yeah, it was gonna be it for the boy. But in the next scene, we see David wake back up, but he's at that location 10 years in the past. He manages to make it back home and walk inside. He walks in to see he's at his 10-year-old self's birthday party, just like the previous footage. And I used to want to argue that this entire movie is a time paradox, but ultimately, that's up to debate. So let me know what you all think about that so far down in the comments. I'm curious. I'm still on the fence myself after seeing this multiple times, but he walks past the mirror and we get the same shot we saw before. David meets up with his dad in the basement. His dad not realizing him at first, but he did shortly after. And he told David that he couldn't believe it worked. David told him that the time machine was a bad thing and he came back to make sure it was never built. David and his dad share a heartfelt moment. It's honestly nice. David takes the original machine and tosses it in the trash, setting it on fire. And we get a montage of things happening, but also getting deleted at the same time, I guess. Like, that's what's implied. The film ends almost where it started, with David and Chris in the attic. But instead, this time, there are 2 cameras instead of 1. And the movie ends, honestly, underrated movie. I have always really enjoyed it. And yeah, while I have a few gripes, overall I think the plot is fine. And also a debatable one with the whole time paradox thing. So yeah, that definitely makes it more interesting. 8 out of 10, and I rate it higher than Together, mostly for my overall enjoyment, and because I like the idea of time travel. All that has always been interesting, and, I've seen the movie a lot, nostalgia, so just overall I like it better. I don't know what else to say. More fun movie. But yeah, let me know what you all think of the video. If you've seen this film or not, let me know all of this in the comments. Drop a fat like, subscribe for more. I will see you all in the next project I make, and yeah. Peace out.